Some locals want to inform us on something they know of. They tell us a rogue Tarkhan has found refuge in a town to the west of here. It would make sense to seek him out. Effendi, I have prepared a briefing for this expedition. Shall I present it to the staff? No, Lieutenant, I don't need a briefing, thank you. Just get out of my face. And reduced chance of betrayal in cities. Very nice. What is up, my fellow Balkanoids? I'm Captain Beans! And welcome to Flight to Hara Vera 2.0! For those who don't know, Flight to Hara Vera is an overhaul mod for HighFleet, and I have played a playthrough of this mod before, but on normal difficulty in version 1.2, and a rather broken one. Much has changed since then, so I'm quite stoked to try this mod out once again, but anywho, this time I will be doing this campaign on hard difficulty with stock ships only, meaning only the ships that you typically get with this mod. I'll get into the fleet composition I have here in just a moment, but for now, grab your favorite rakia because this is HighFleet, but in the Balkans. Alright, now here is my fleet composition, and here it is right here. And if this already is a pretty good idea for you of what we're working with, feel free to skip to this timestamp where the actual action will start. But if you want a more sort of detailed explanation on why I decided to choose these ships in particular, I guess let me just explain now. Let me explain. So one thing you'll notice is that I do not have Sothis II as my flagship, and in fact, instead of my flagship, I have this guy, the Seryani class light cruiser. Now, the reason why I've chosen this one is actually because it is a cheaper flagship than the Sothis II. Yes, the Seryani is by default flagged as a flagship, so I did not modify this ship in any particular way. It was like this as a stock ship. So blame Shieldbearer for that one. Surprisingly enough, the Seryani on its own is actually a pretty capable vessel. As you see, it has a pretty decent armament of a bunch of GAU 130 Falx cannons, which are basically rapid-firing 130mm guns. Those, from what I can remember, are extremely potent, especially against larger ships, but even small ships don't exactly survive that. And the ship also has a pretty good point defense network with 57mm Spag cannons, which are insane at stopping missiles, at least from what I can remember. And you'll also notice that this ship has pretty solid armor, at least from above, where usually airstrikes would happen. And so, yeah, being hit from above, it's not going to really do anything, even in tactical combat. Side armor might seem like there's lots of holes in it, but one thing to keep in mind is that this ship is just full of these APS Balash systems, which are going to really help out against larger caliber enemy barrages. And the reason is because I will also be intending to use this ship not only as a sort of air defense or sort of last resort air defense ship, but I'm also going to be sending this directly balls deep into strike groups in order to fight them head on. That is in fact going to be my strike group fighting doctrine, instead of your typical missile striking before heading in balls deep. I am just going to skip to balls deep. And the reason is because Ha-15s, including all of the other cruise missiles that you get, are actually utterly dog shit, at least for the player, because enemies are just so damn annoying, and you literally cannot even dent their air defenses with even like a whole horde of these missiles. And so in fact I'm even half considering just selling these two Half-15 missiles that I have on the flagship, but I'm not going to do anything right now just for this moment. So think of this Seryani as a sort of flagship and also as a strike group fighting vessel, or even a last resort sort of garrison fighting vessels in case shit goes haywire. Up next we have an Odysseia class carrier frigate. I would have actually preferred to call it a light carrier, but as you can see it is just a nice small elegant little aircraft carrier which has a small aircraft wing of 2 T7s and 4 La-29s. I'm mainly intending for this ship to be more as a scout rather than as a airstrike asset, although this ship does carry enough planes to do airstrikes as well, in case we do need to. It does also have a couple of air defenses, which I guess is nice, I suppose, so maybe even if I detach this ship to some of my strike groups, maybe it can also work in that regard as well. But really, aside from all of that, Odysseia is just a really nice little carrier with a hell of a ton of utility. Up next, we have 6 units of Myrkinos class interceptors. And if you've seen my previous campaign on Flight to Hara Vera, you know just how much I love the Myrkinos. These are basically the replacements for the Lightning, and as you can tell from the stats, they are designed to pretty much do exactly what the Lightning does. They are a sudden strike capable interceptor and also cargo convoy runners. And we are pretty much just going to be using this for that. In early game, we are also going to be liberating a whole bunch of towns with 3 little strike groups made up of 2 of these Myrkinoses, attached with each with a Skylark class small oiler, which I will get to that in just a moment. But really, this is just a kind of a Lightning in Flight to Hara Vera. I would say a slightly fancier, but maybe even slightly better in some ways than the original Lightning. It has the same exact armament of 2 AK-100s, which is going to be quite perfect because I'm also going to be buying a whole bunch of 100mm proximity fuses because they're cheap, and also armor piercing because they're also cheap. And really, AK-100s in this mod are still quite relevant and quite really potent, despite being the smallest proper caliber gun, I should say. You'll also notice that this ship has lots of spaces to mount some extra components, and as the campaign goes on, I might try to mount some Palash systems, maybe some missiles, but we shall see how the campaign goes. I am not going to be using any strategic missiles of any kind, specifically because they are utterly useless. But don't tell Frost for that. Tell him that they are actually completely and totally useful. Trust me, bro. Up next, we have 3 units of Skylark class fleet oilers. I'm going to basically detach these guys in order to supply the 3 little Myrkinos strike groups, which I'm going to be sending out into Gerat, or not Gerat, Thrakia, or the Exarchy of Hara Vera, actually. And the reason why I've chosen the Skylark is because, well, it is a stock ship, but also because it has ELINT and also thermal sensors, which are going to be pretty neat to have with these strike groups in order to have some sort of early warning. One thing you may have noticed from the Seryani is that it does not have very many sensors, and that is actually one trade-off that I'm willing to accept, of not grabbing the Suvarad II as the flagship. And so at least my strike groups should be able to have at least some sort of eyes and ears, whilst also having a reliable enough tanker to support them. And last but not least, I have 1 unit of a Fennec class auxiliary air defense ship. Just one, and that guy is going to be escorting the flagship. The reason is because I wanted to focus more on tactical combat and air defense. The Fennec seemed like a suitable enough choice as a sort of extra air defense vessel, a very cheap one. And yeah, it's going to support the flagship, and I might even send it ahead of the flagship in some cases to intercept some of the first missiles or even aircraft, depending upon what we're dealing with. But my prediction is that we are definitely going to need a lot of air defenses and a lot of tactical combat capable vessels. And that is pretty much my fleet composition. Let us get the supplies for this fleet. Let's get some fuel, and we shall take a look at the map, form our little strategy here, and let's do this shit. We don't have any proximity fuse ammo, nor do we have any AP ammo in 100mm caliber. That's pretty suboptimal. Okay, and we don't have any AAMs for our aircraft to use. There are some rockets, but I'm not going to buy them because I don't really use them, and also bombs are better. So I guess let's get some fuel. How much fuel do we need to get? I guess let's get enough fuel for the fleet to reach Rozanci, which is the fuel storage right here. But I'd also like to have just a little bit more so that I can send the 3 little lightning strike groups out into the mountains of the Exarchy to liberate some more towns. Okay, so our overall objective of this campaign is pretty much to just beeline to Hara Vera. Get there as fast as possible, liberate it, and get the second ending. Not the first one, which we've seen in the first campaign that I've done, but the second ending. Part of the reason why I wanted to do this campaign again is to get that second alternate ending. And I'm going to be trying to do that. Now, I am not sure what this ending even is or what it's about, but I'm pretty sure still going to Hara Vera is going to be our main objective. As you can see, Hara Vera is surrounded by a decent amount of towns. If I just make a 2,000 kilometer circle, there we go. I mean, it does have lots of neighbors, but they are pretty spaced out. So if I am going to try to liberate those, yeah, it might be a bit of a challenge, especially jumping from these sorts of spots to here. Although, based on my previous experience of playing this mod, spoiler alert, skip to this one if you don't want to be spoiled, we don't actually have to liberate any neighboring towns around Hara Vera. All we have to do is just liberate Hara Vera, and it's game over. It's win. It's a win-win. And that is because there is no endgame nuclear war in Flight to Hara Vera. Yeah, it's lame, but that's just the truth. And so our overall strategy really is to just bum rush Hara Vera. Just go there as fast as possible. Well, not really as fast as possible, of course. We do have to do this somewhat methodically and taking into consideration finding Tarkhans and also eliminating strike groups whenever they do get in our way. Which, speaking of, we do have a Tarkhan somewhere far west of Odomantis. Here we are in Odomantis, and I'm guessing the Tarkhan is probably somewhere here. Either in Voronezh, Voronezh, блять, or Seryani. But if I had to guess, they might be sitting in Voronezh. Although if I was a Tarkhan, I would not really be sitting in Voronezh for very long because, well... Now, with the main fleet, what I probably will do as a sort of first step is go into Rozanci because it is a fuel depot. I'm going to refuel the main fleet over there because on hard difficulty, fuel is only cheap in those towns. In other towns, it is actually more expensive than in normal difficulty. And also fuel depots refuel your ships faster. Now, let's take a look at the map really quickly, a little bit more. Get to know the Exarchy a little bit more. So the first fleet headquarters that I'm seeing is this town called Selinum, and it's quite far north, which I would have liked for it to be a little closer so that we could potentially reach it in the next episode. Not necessarily this one, but I guess we shall see about that. We're also noticing that early game, we have this little net of towns. I'm guessing that this is going to be sort of where your early game cargo convoys are going to be located at. This seems like a pretty clusterfucky area. To the east, there is a pretty nice little, neat little sort of line of cities going north. We could potentially send one of these strike groups to just liberate the towns along this sort of line as a sort of way to open up one of the entrances to Selinum. And then maybe the others can liberate the western side and also potentially catch any cargo convoys. But in general, if we draw lines going from Rozanci to the first fleet headquarters, let's say like this, and let's say we also go from the eastern side to Selinum. Okay, Selinum is the first rebel stronghold. The next one is actually really close, called Solyakamin. It's just right here. So I'm pretty sure, so once we reach Selenum and we get our supplies that we need, we could potentially even go to a town like Stara Rosa, and from there just jump to Solyakamin, for example. I'm just brainstorming. I'm not exactly setting a concrete strategy just yet. I'm just brainstorming at the moment. And then from there, the next town is even closer. We have Duma. And from Duma, I can see that, yeah, okay, this area right here with a whole bunch of towns, that I can tell you for a fact is going to be a clusterfuck area, because I'm going to guess there's going to be a lot of tactical groups as well as cargo convoys, just from vibes alone. So we're definitely going to have to watch out for this area right here. We're going to have to be really careful here, up until we reach this town, Pilica, or Pilica, I have no idea. From there, yeah, from there we pretty much just, I guess, jump to Vizia, and yeah, there is another little clusterfuck area, and you can also notice the towns get even bigger, so I'm guessing the garrisons are gonna get even worse from here on out. Alright, and then from there, of course, you know, somehow we get to Hara Vera. But anywho, that was just a bit of a brainstorming thing, although, yes, our strategy here really is to just jump from rebel strongholds to rebel strongholds in order to ensure that we have enough cash, supplies, whatever, as well as catching cargo convoys and such. And also, wherever we need to, we will also stop by fuel depots to refuel our fleets, because that is going to be sort of our biggest cost, our biggest running costs of this operation. So, let's get our fleet refueled. I'm going to send a strike group of lightnings into the western side to liberate Seryani and Voronezh. And I'm going to send 2 strike groups, one into Rozanci and one into Suvarad. And then the guys at Suvarad are going to pretty much just liberate one town at a time along this eastern axis. And just so that in case we see any problems over here, we can just jump to this line and then just rush to Selenum. There's also some pretty interesting and some pretty good benefits that we can get immediately, such as Suvarad has some intel that we could really use, get an idea of where the first strike group is. Although if I had to guess, they're probably sitting somewhere here. Maybe Kubasi? Probably Kubasi, or maybe Beliplast. Maybe even Selenum. It's not uncommon for strike groups to spawn in the first fleet headquarters or rebel strongholds, but if I had to guess, they might be in this area. It's just more likely. If they are here, though, it might actually be somewhat in our favor, because we can then lure them across the line to us and then just fight them far, far away from all the other tactical groups that could harass us. But anywho, let's organize our liberation teams really quickly. Okay, but before we do that, I'm actually going to send some planes to do some aerial recon. I'm going to send a La-29 to take a look at Seryani. I'm going to send a La-29 to look at Rozanci. And a La-29 to take a look at Suvarad and Murn-Sarak. I'm going to give it very special sort of maneuver. There we go. Okay, so here's one thing that I should also explain. Now, you saw here in Suvarad and also in Rozanci, there is just a garrison. And notice this yellow bar. That is your sudden strike timer. Right now, the enemy garrisons are currently just chilling out. They're just, you know, on low alert. They're not alert at all. And if you strike this town quick enough, such that this bar does not go all the way down, because this is a timer, you can basically strike each town suddenly, meaning that the enemy ships will start out landed on the ground. And the longer that this timer is, the less likely the enemy will be able to respond quickly enough to, first of all, report you, but also take off from the ground. What this means, at least for us, is going to be a little bit of something that I'm going to explain later once we actually get to the Battle of Rozanci. A little bit of a sneaky little tactic that we're going to use. I'm also checking these roads in case there's any cargo convoys that are heading into those towns. That's just something I like to do with these planes. And let's check out Seryani real quick. Aha! Okay, so Seryani, we got a garrison and we have a cargo convoy sitting over here. Interesting. Now, they are both currently on low alert. So until the cargo convoy is going to take off, it's going to be on low alert as well. That means we have a bit of a chance of actually trying to capture this convoy and liberating the town at the same time. If we do this right now, we might actually have a chance of taking both. So let's get 2 Myrkinoses and let's get a Skylark, give them full fuel, and you guys just bum rush Seryani right now. Go. Even if the cargo convoy takes off, it's not really a huge deal, because they're either going to go to Voronezh, or they are going to go north into Paravar, which is part of this whole network of towns, which is where cargo convoys are going to be anyway. Lat 29, why did you not see anything in Murn-Sarak? Did you not have enough fuel to go there? Motherfucker, you did not have enough fuel to go there. Anywho, I guess what I might have to do is send my Odryssia maybe a short distance north or somewhere in that direction to get more in range of our aircraft. Let's also send a strike group to go liberate Rozanci. I'm gonna give them full fuel for this, just in case anything goes terrible and I need these guys to come back. RTB. And you guys go ahead and liberate Suvarad. Now this does mean that I've given these guys quite a bit of fuel, so I'm gonna have to refuel my fleet up until they can reach Rozanci. But in general, yeah, it seems like early game should be alright. Not too bad. Okay, now here's the thing that I wanted to explain to you guys regarding the garrisons and the Sudden Strike timers. You've noticed that, at least in this town, in Rozanci, it is pretty long. And what this means is that we can employ a pretty interesting tactic, which I've used in the Frost Fleet campaign. And essentially, instead of detaching, you know, all of my light interceptors in one singular group, instead, what I'll do is I'll detach one at a time in a sort of line formation. What this will do is it will send only one ship at a time to engage the enemy, and what this does is that it only decreases the morale of that one ship instead of both at the same time. Morale in the early game with Myrkinoses is a crucial resource that I really do not want to waste. And so I'm going to try to maximize, or actually minimize, the morale loss by essentially doing this. Now, if the Sudden Strike timer was shorter, I would have to send the Myrkinoses all at the same time, because otherwise the second or third Myrkinos is just not going to have enough time for the enemy to not be able to respond quickly enough. And so, here I have a bit of a Congo line, or a line formation. And yeah, this is why you're going to be seeing those periodically, as we liberate each towns in the Sudden Strike mode. So, I've explained this. I'm no longer going to be explaining this anymore. So, from now on, I will just be doing this without explanation. If I do, however, send lightnings with, you know, in just one singular detachment, it probably just means that the the garrison Sudden Strike timer is shorter, and I am anticipating a more quicker response from the garrison. Okay, Battle of Suvarad. There we go. I told you that's the Sudden Strike timer going down. It's going down pretty slowly, and also it is fairly long, so we have plenty enough time to Sudden Strike this town. I'm also guessing that the garrison is probably not that potent, but we shall see. It is hard difficulty, so I'm gonna expect the worst. Ooh, okay, not bad. Not bad. At least we are not seeing a quail just yet. Basically, the Vernars are your replacements for Courageouses. They are immensely annoying, because they have a singular 180mm gun which can shoot proximity fuses and really just special ammo in general. Vanilluses have these R6 Nadir missiles, which are armor-piercing, so they are particularly deadly against some of our bigger ships, but against a Myrkinos, the Myrkinos can just dodge them, so no need to worry about them, and if I just see these ships, I'm just going to be fighting with HE ammunition, because the missiles, I can just easily dodge them. If we saw a Quail, however, then we use proximity fuses, and I'll explain that later. But anywho, let us get into combat. Alright, let's do this. Let's go, bitches! Oh, let's get our first salvo going on that Vanillus. Let's try to kill it as soon as possible. Dodge missiles, of course. There we go, nice, first kill. Tango down! Yeah, notice how this Vernar is shooting proximity fuses at me. That is kind of why this ship is really annoying to deal with, as opposed to just the vanilla Courageous. It's also a fairly small ship and decently difficult to kill immediately. Surprisingly long TTK for this ship. Okay, my aim is pretty terrible at the moment. But I promise you, things will get worse. Things will only get worse. I am, after all, the king of skill issue. The undisputed king of skill issue. There we go. Whew. Ah, escape pod, shoot it! Ah, never mind. Always take some time to scavenge enemy crash sites. We'll need every source of funds and intel we can get. This, by the way, is Grandmaster Jarkil, for those who don't know the lore of Flight to Hara Vera. He's basically our superior, but not really. He's more of a mentor, I should say. Although, I mean, he is kind of a superior, but not really. We are the Prince Terrace, so, you know, we are kind of superior to everyone in this sort of royal way. 6 people died. Who gives a shit? He's Balkans. He's Balkans. Okay, Battle of Rozanci now. Those who remember the Battle of Rozanci from my previous campaign will know. Ooh, also, by the way, let me send... I'm actually gonna send both these lightnings into Seryani at the same time, on the off chance that the battle might be a bit difficult, and I might have to employ two of my lightnings at the same time. There we go. Okay, salvage operations here. Yeah, just get protection, and you will save this gun for the cash. And you guys, yeah, just go into Rozanci. And you, Skylark, over here at Seryani, yeah, just follow these guys. There we go. Okay, so this is the Battle of Rozanci, and holy shit, we have a Centaur. That's a pretty serious vessel, although it is not particularly dangerous. It's just a slightly more armored ship compared to the others. It does also have 130mm guns, which can be pretty deadly if they equip proximity fuses. But if you shoot at it from above, it will die, or from below. Think of it as a slightly worse Intrepid. Alright, let's go! Yeah, Malakas! Okay, that Vernar is shooting HE shells, so I'm not going to be worrying too much about that one. That one is shooting proximity fuses though, so I'm just gonna focus fire on things which can deal significant damage to me, due to volume of fire. Yeah, I got a bit complacent here. You know what, let me just lock in for a second. I say that. There we go. I guess let's focus fire the Centaur now. Just a little bit. side fight the Centaur because it has armor on the sides. In fact, get into a line between... Get the Navarin between these guys. Between us. There we go. Yes, shoot your friend. Very nice. Tango down. Down she goes. Now we got the Centaur to worry about, and it is practically dead at this point. If I just shoot at it a couple more times and hit its autoloaders, or its bridge. Okay. Need to manage our fuel a little bit more efficiently, but that's fine. There we go. We got hit on the port side. That was a bit of a skill issue on my side. Again, undisputed king of skill issue here. But I'll take it, because I don't want to waste more morale points. And otherwise, the battle was pretty flawless, to be fair. Okay. Also because our fleet really is just going to be sitting at Rozanci for quite some time to refuel anyway, so it's okay. It's okay. What I actually might want to do... well, actually, first of all, I need to send these guys to Rozanci. They are fully fueled. I need to remind myself to actually set course with the main fleet to go into town before I send in the lightnings, because, you know, speed and things like that. Okay, what are you rescuing? Yes, the gun. Cool, yes, very nice. What are you guys doing? You're getting protection so that you can rescue the gun. Yes, okay. I approve that. Now the Battle of Seryani. Cargo Convoy, please be there, and please be Silent Strike. That would be ideal. Yes! It is! Perfect! Amazing! That is actually really good. That is really, really good. And now, it does mean that we might see more ships, and more deadlier ships, because we are also going to have to fight the escorts, but, nonetheless, Battle of Seryani. Let's go! Oof. Oh, damn. Okay, this is a bit of a tougher lineup. The particularly scary ships that I'm seeing here are the Scarab and the Grasshopper. But otherwise, everything else seems to be okay. There's gonna be lots of missiles, I can tell you that. If I had proximity fuses from the very beginning, this fight would be a lot easier, but unfortunately, RNG hasn't really been supportive at Odomantis. So I guess we shall do this. Alright, let's go, bitches! Let's do this! Oh, okay. You know what, just let me... I'm not going to comment a lot in this battle. Let me just focus on actually fighting these guys really quickly. Maybe then if I have something to say, I will say it. I am going to try to focus fire maybe this Grasshopper, because it is the most potent ship of this group so far. It's better to bottom fight the Grasshopper because it has no armor on the bottom. I'm gonna try to be careful not to receive fire from below from that ship, the Vigorous. Actually, I might fire at the Vigorous a little bit. I need to start killing ships. I am using up quite a lot of fuel in this fight to dodge things, which is not ideal. we are running out of fuel. We need to get the other ship into combat. Okay, there we go. If we don't manage to kill all of the ships, I might just re-engage. I mean retreat and re-engage, because we do have enough Sun Strike timer to afford that. The Grasshopper is really annoying. Its AK-100s are really proving to be a nuisance. Really a nuisance, because it can reload quickly, just like my guns. Oh, my aim is not helping. My aim really isn't helping. I'm also hesitant on letting the cargo ship enter combat. Oh god, we have this. Oh god, we have the Scarab enter combat. That is not good. I did forget about the Scarab. We need to. It's a pretty armored ship. So let's get the Gladiator first. Ooh, it's also shooting 180mm proximity fuses. Not ideal. Go. Okay, if I can maybe get these ships to get off of that retreat area. There we go. Okay, we got the Scarab alone with the cargo ship. So I guess what I might do is just pommel it a little bit and maybe re-engage. We have enough of timer to do so. Okay, yeah, let's re-engage. Re-engage. And also because re-engaging will let us have more combat fuel. I missed that retreat spot. There we go. Whew, nice. What else? Yes, dismantle the gun, for fuck's sake. Forget about survivors, guys. Always the guns, always the money. Okay. Let's go. There we go. Part of the reason why I want to fight the Scarab alone is because it also has 180mm proximity fuses. I don't really want to be dancing around with other projectiles in the air. Of course, there is the cargo ship that has the 100mm crew-loaded cannons. But they are not as huge of a threat as the Scarab. That does mean I need to stay clear of the cargo convoy ship. You stop shooting Seaways at me. That's pretty rude. Also gonna have to be careful not to hit the cargo ship itself, because, yes, his friend is hiding behind the cargo ship. Wait, if I maneuver maybe this way... Yeah, if I can maneuver this way, I can have a shot at the Scarab and not at the cargo convoy ship. Okay, the G-forces are really not helping here. Ah, stop getting... Fuck's sake. I really don't want to hit the cargo ship, that's why I wasn't shooting at that moment. Okay, now I can. This Scarab is doing really well hiding behind his cargo ship that he's meant to escort. Ah, fuck's sake, okay. Let's get the other ship then. Alright. Let's get this over with then. There we go. Okay, that was a clean shot. Nice. Woo! Fuck yes! First cargo convoy. Flawless. Well, kind of. We did see a Scarab and a Grasshopper. Those were pretty annoying to fight. Whew. Nice. amazing. I'm actually quite happy about this so far. So far the campaign's going pretty okay. Not bad. We did damage our ships more than I would have liked to, but again, skill issue. Okay, now the guys at Suvarad have finished salvaging. I'm just gonna land these guys in order to get fuel. Ah, and we have the wedding event. It seems this is one of your captain's hometown. The captain begs you to allow him to spend some time here as he wants to marry his betrothed mistress, whom he left behind because of the war. He can offer nothing in return for your kindness other than his loyalty and gratitude. We are pretty unlucky to have this event immediately because if we choose to allow this, we will basically use up our money. But at the same time, actually, you know what? Let's get some kindness points going. The day's yours. Long may you live together with your wife. There we go. The captain falls to his knees and kisses your hands. And long may you live, Effendi. I wish for you to become my best man. The whole town will rejoice this day. In just a few hours, the town square is filled with colorful decorations and tables full of food and wine. What a happy day this is! Just make sure not to drink too much, my lord. Why the hell not? One drink a day drives the devil away. And that's that. Anywho, let's get some fuel and finally proximity fuses. 100mm and also armor piercing. I'm gonna buy maybe 100 rounds of that. There we go. Some AAMs. I'm gonna buy maybe only 10 units because we only have 2 T7s. We don't really need that many. Let's maybe get 20 bombs. Yeah. In case we do need to do a small little airstrike. Alright, now we've liberated Suvarad. Let's use the intel. See where the first strike group is. And what did I tell you? There is a strike group at Kubasi called Edonian. So I guess let's write that down. I told you guys, just from vibes alone, yeah, strike groups and cargo convoys are most likely here. Aha. This opens up a bit of an opportunity for us, because this means that assuming there's not another strike group somewhere in this area, we could potentially just rush to Selinum from the eastern flank. Just an idea. But let's get a intel on tactical groups in the area, and as we can see, we have Zenit, which is an aircraft and a missile carrying group. That's pretty bad. That means that trying to liberate the towns around this area is going to be a bit of trouble. And even liberating that town alone could be trouble, because these tactical groups, I am not entirely sure if they have sensors or not. So if I just send my lightnings into this town, there is a chance that they might detect my ships and raise alarms. So probably most likely what I'll end up doing is airstriking this Zenit group far before I even intend on liberating the town of Duros. And really, I'm not even sure if we have to deal with this strike group. We shall see. What do you guys need to salvage? Salvage fuel, please, because, I mean, yes, it is a fuel depot, but if you guys can repair yourselves and get yourselves moving quickly, that would be ideal. You guys at Seryani now, what are you guys salvaging? Okay, get the fuel and then you'll get the guns. Forget about the survivors and the crew cabins, we don't need that. Whereas you guys, just get enough fuel and you guys are going to immediately go to Murn-Sarak, but not before I send a T7 to go investigate. T7 because just in case Murn-Sarak has an aircraft carrying group. I have seen those spawn that close to Odomantes before on hard difficulty, so it wouldn't be a huge surprise. No survivors. No survivors. Only the guns. In true Balkan fashion, we save only the things that we can, you know, reliably sell for profit. Ooh, you guys can land at Rozanci now. and let's land the ship that's damaged. And there is a 31 spot just below, so I guess I shall land this Myrkinos over there. On hard difficulty, we are also going to have, on average, longer repair times, so that's kind of a bummer. And so, of course, we are going to make best use of quick repair docks and quick repair towns, which have even quicker repair docks. There we go. Let's see if there's also any events in this town. No events? Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. We're also going to try to get as many events as possible by liberating as many towns as possible. You know what? You guys on your own don't really need that much fuel, but because it's cheap, I might as well get you some more. Some. Proximity fuses? I'm going to buy all... I'm going to buy your entire stock. Because we're definitely going to use it. Now, as soon as these guys are going to finish salvaging and repairing, if we find a Tarkhan here at Seryani, we might not even have a reason to liberate Voronezh. We might just leave Voronezh as is, because, to be fair, I wouldn't touch this town with a 1,000-kilometer metal pole, if I were me. But if we have to, I guess I'll send one of my Myrkinoses that's not as damaged, because the other one might need a little bit more repair time. Okay, I will send you guys to Murn-Sarak as soon as we find out what's at Murn-Sarak. Rozanci, you guys are refueling and also repairing. I could theoretically send this Myrkinos onto an adventure somewhere. Singular unit. I guess let's take a look at Manastir then. In this case. And, let's see. Okay, Murn-Sarak. Okay, just a garrison and a long timer. So, theoretically, I could just send these guys over there immediately. I'm gonna do that even by doing the line formation straight from, Suvarad. Alright, there we go. Okay, let's land these guys at Seryani. I'm gonna land both ships. Ooh, and also because Seryani is a fast repair town. Okay, that's actually quite perfect. It seems like, anyway. Very nice. Nice and easy, just land here. So nice and gently, because my landing gear are a bit damaged. That's fine. Okay, let's land the other ship. I might try to land that guy in a 110 spot as well, because we only took a little bit of negligible damage. And some superficial damage from up aloft, so maybe I can get this Myrkinos out into another battle. Maybe liberate Voronezh right now, as soon as this guy gets repaired. So I'm gonna put this guy first on the repair schedule. There we go. Yes. No events. Alright, I'm fine with that. Just repair this Myrkinos. It's gonna take 7.5 hours. What the fuck? Okay, hard difficulty, am I right? 19 hours to repair these guys in total. What the fuck? You can buy nuclear engines here? Interesting. That is actually quite interesting. Honestly, my flagship, the Siconian, actually has one. It might be worth buying one as a replacement. In case in case my one nuclear engine on the flagship gets destroyed. That does mean I have to transport it back to the flagship, but honestly, why not? I don't really see an issue with having a replacement in case shit hits the fan, really. Ooh, 130mm proximity fuses. The flagship uses those. Fuck you mean, no ships? My flagship uses those. Brother. Alright, okay. That's fine. Okay, what's at Manastir? So just a garrison and a long timer. Okay, check the area, check the road going to Duros. I really don't want to have a cargo convoy go into Manastir as I'm doing this. Shall I send just one Myrkinos and a Skylark into Manastir? Fuck it, let's do it. I'm also going to do it in such a way that they can come back should shit hit the fan. I'm going to just leave this Myrkinos to repair itself. Ooh, and this is Battle of... Oh, shit! Ooh, yeah, this garrison's already pretty potent. Remember how I told you about the Quails? So these guys have R5C missiles, which are cluster munitions. These are extremely deadly against unarmored ships like the Myrkinos. But if I use proximity fuses and shoot out those missiles in the racks before they could be launched, the Quail is essentially massively weakened. The Exarchy is going to be really annoying because it has 100mm guns, both AK-100s and the Grom cannons, which are crew-loaded, which means that this thing just shoots 100mm rapid fire all the time. Oh, this garrison's gonna be a bitch, isn't it? Let's go, motherfuckers! Alright, that's one Quail dealt with, more or less. Oh, that's a cluster missile coming after us, I can tell by the speed. Cluster missiles are usually slower than the Zeniths or the R6 Nadirs. Okay, that's the Quails dealt with. Somewhat. Oh, I went into that salvo. That's not good. Holy fuck, the Quails are quick. No, that's a cluster munition. Ah. I did not kill all of the cluster missiles first. I need to be more careful. All right, let's do this again. All right. No cluster bombs, there we go. Now let's get the other Quail. Make sure all of its cluster missiles are down. There we go, eliminated, I'm pretty sure. Of course, the Exarch has missiles too, but they are just Zeniths. Nothing too bad. If I can shoot off the engines on these guys, that would also be ideal. Oh, ouch. Okay, don't be cornered. Don't be cornered. See how the Exarch is just shooting 100mm shells all the time? That is why this ship is so annoying. In fact, all of the ships in Flight to Hara Vera are annoying in some way. Always. Okay, that's one Quail dealt with. There we go. Now the Exarch. He does have some holes in the armor and also on the bottom. So maybe proximity fuses can be used here to sort of, you know, to great effect. Come on. See, the Grom cannons don't need autoloaders, and so that's why this guy, even though I might have taken out some of the autoloaders, it's still shooting at me. The Exarch is still shooting at me, but here we go. Okay, good. Murn-Sarak. Okay, it did take 2 attempts, but we still have 8 morale on this ship, so we should be fine. And see the advantage of sending one ship at a time? I only lost 2 units of morale on this ship. not on this ship as well. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay. So it doesn't seem like Manastir has any more things coming towards it, aside from this garrison that's already sitting in there. It might be wise to probably buy more proximity fuses as soon as I can in Murn-Sarak, because I've definitely used quite a bit in the battle for Murn-Sarak. But otherwise, yeah. Hopefully the garrison at Manastir shouldn't be that bad. Although, theoretically, we can also pull out. Theoretically. Alright, how are you guys doing? Okay, you are still repairing? Yeah, I took way too much damage in some fights, so yeah, it might take a while before we can get more battles going. But in general, should be fine, no problem. Now we did not find any Tarkhan in Seryani, so I'm guessing we're gonna have to liberate Voronezh. Блять. Alright, Battle of Manastir. Let's go. Ooh, and it's a fairly okay garrison, so no special ammo, just HE. Let's do this. Let's go, Malakas. There we go. Yep, I also noticed that guy also did launch. There we go. It's just Vernars and this Vanillus, so that's fine. It's totally fine. Should be good. Can you shut your 180mm up? That'd be great. There we go. Your proximity fuses are hitting the debris. Nice. Nice one, Vernar. Just die, bro. Okay, cool. That was a flawless battle. Okay. Now, do we pull out from Manastir? Potentially? Because it might be a pretty dangerous area to be in, considering the fact that there's tactical groups and strike groups going on here. Or do we maybe throw these Mirkinoses perhaps to the other towns once this guy finishes repairing? Actually, yes, I will probably end up just salvaging things from this town, from Manastir, and then just pulling these guys out, back into Rozanci, have these guys repaired, and yeah, maybe send, maybe in the next episode we'll try to liberate this area and also move further on this eastern line here. But for now, I think this should be okay enough progress for the first episode. I am really excited and I'm utterly enjoying Flight to Hara Vera. It's been a while since HighFleet has challenged me in such a way. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. And see you in the next one.